Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to part 3 of End Time Bible Prophecy, the two different Gentiles. Now on this one, I'm going to add a third one. So I left out the third Gentile. There are actually 3 different types of Gentiles. There is the unrepentant Gentile, where the fury of the Most High is going to pour out upon them, just as we were unrepentant and the fury of the Most High poured out on us. And I'm going to read about that in a second. Then you got the repentant Gentile. This is the Gentile who has repented of their sins and is willing to follow the Most High in all his ways, just as there were Hebrews that were repentant, that did walk in his ways and follow his ways. The Most High has always had Hebrews that followed his ways. And any Gentile that wanted to take hold of the covenant, they were included as well. Not just the Gentile Hebrews that lived in Asia, whom Paul went to, but also the Gentiles from the other nations that decided to take hold of the covenant. Then you have the Gentile. This is the third one, the one that's going to get their new bodies by their faith, either by death, them dying in Hamashiach, or when he returns. So you have that other third faithful Gentile that's going to make it, brothers and sisters. The one that's going to get their new bodies. And we're going to focus on mostly the first two, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit on the third one. Now let's get to the scriptures and let's show Zion and the fury poured out on the Most High and how it's going to be turned against the Gentiles. This is Isaiah chapter 51, and let's read verse 17. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Most High the cup of his fury. And we have drunk of it deeply, so will they. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. Brothers and sisters. And for time's sake, I'm going to drop down to 21. Y'all can read the rest of that. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. We were drunk with other doctrines. Thus saith the Most High, Yahuah, and thy Elohim, that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee. That's the unrepentant Gentile here. Not the repentant, grafted in Gentile that found faith in the Most High and turned from all their wicked ways and confessed all their sins and was forgiven in the body. Which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground and as the street to them that went over. And it's this thing, what I'm talking about. Many Hebrews are falling left and right underneath these camps and organizations because they're not going before the Most High themselves and asking them these questions and getting the fullness of the answers from him. And I tried to direct the brother to go to the Most High about this very thing so the Most High would bring them into the understanding, because they wasn't understanding it from me. But I got chastised and punished because of it. But it's alright. prayers up for that brother. Much love to him too. But let's go to Isaiah 14. And then we're going to go to Revelations as well. Isaiah 14:1. For the Most High will have mercy on Jacob. Yes, he will have mercy on us. Our punishment is up. And I will yet choose Yasharal and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them. And they shall cleave to the house of Yasharal. There is a different type of stranger here. It's not the unrepentant one cursing us, you know, like the KKK and all them that want to put us to death. It's not them. This is a different stranger here that's going to join to the Most High, join to the house of Yasharal, join to us, the one who is called a Jew. This is a different type. And like I told, like I mentioned, this is a lot of reading and a lot of understanding you have to get on your own time, brothers and sisters, what I'm talking about here. Even though I'm presenting a lot of script, you have to get this understanding from the Most High. Bring this question before Him and read and study and go here a little, there a little, and He will lead you to the same thing He led me to. The Most High is no respecter of persons. Same thing He led me to, He'll lead you. And if I'm telling you, hey, bring it to the Most High, that's part of one of my answers. If you got a question from me, trust that. Trust that the Most High will lead you. I'm doing the right thing. If you can't get it from me, then bring it to the Most High. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Yahshua shall possess them. So we're going to take them and bring them to their place with us in our land. There's a place prepared for them as well in our land. And when the Most High bring down the gates, I said the gates. When He bring down Jerusalem, y'all know what I was trying to say. Stop playing. When He bring down Jerusalem from heaven above, and everyone had to walk through our gates, the 12 tribes of Yasharal, there's a place prepared for all of us in there. The Gentiles who were a part of the house of Yasharal, whom the Most High is saving through His Son. You just got to get a good, healthy understanding of what is the house of Yasharal. Is it just the 12 tribes? What about those servants that we are bringing in with us? What about the servants that came in the first Exodus? Were they not part of the covenant? Did they not sit there and bear witness to everything? And they were a witness. They were there. Just because the Most High is mainly focusing on Yasharal doesn't exclude them. He has them mentioned all through the book as well. Let's read right here. And the house of Yasharal shall possess them in the land of the Most High. This is His land. For servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives. Who captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. So, we are going to take the captives captive. Who held us captive. Brothers and sisters. And rule over all of our oppressors all over the land. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahuah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. So you have these two types of Gentiles. You have the repentant ones and the unrepentant ones. The unrepentant ones are going to really get it. They're going to come in chains. They're going to come in captivity. They're going to get it, brothers and sisters. But there's another type of Gentile that was faithful and true to the Most High. They're going to come in. They're going to be in our houses with us, taking care of our children. Do you really want this other type of Gentile in your house. No, they're going to be on the outside of our land. They don't deserve to come live in our land. They're going to be outside of the land in captivity and servitude. And getting it, really getting it. But the ones that's being prepared for us, they're a different group. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, before you make a comment, go watch part 1 and part 2. Now let's go to Revelations. Chapter 3. Y'all know where I'm going. In verse 10. Did I write down the wrong verse? Okay, actually it was Revelations 13 and 10. Forgot to write the 1 there. Alright, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And this is our patience and our faith. And we are waiting on these things, Zion. Yes, they will get what they have come to them. Yes, they will suffer. The Most High is going to punish them greatly for all that they have done. But remember, during Jacob's trouble, while the 2 witnesses are here and bringing on their testimony before the world, these heathens going to have chances to repent, and they're not. They're not. And these 2 witnesses are going to keep on bringing the pain to them, and they're going to still refuse to repent. So, and also during that time, there's going to be Gentiles waking up, understanding and discovering, wait a minute, this is not the real, oh no, you know, they're going to discover the truth. And then they're going to turn to the Most High with a humble, contrite heart. And they're going to find us, Zion. And there's going to be Hebrews that's going to be kicking them and slaying them and pushing them away because of their mentality and their thoughts in their mind and what they're expecting to happen according to their feelings. And the Most High going to deal with them and purge them out when the times come. But there's going to be those Gentiles that's going to seek us out. And when they see us, they're going to grab hold of us. You see, the Most High is going to turn and look at us, and he's going to put that spirit upon us, and they're going to look at us differently. And they're going to have a healthy fear upon them from the Most High for us. And they're going to turn to us, and they're going to serve us in the Most High's capacity. He has called them in to serve us by Zion. So there are different Gentiles out there, just as there are different Hebrews out there. Why do you think we went into captivity in the first place? Some of us didn't experience captivity like that, Zion. We may have had a hard time and was afflicted in certain people's lands, but far as serious slavery and servitude that some of us went through, not all of them went through that, Zion. And the Most High never goes back on his word. If he has it in there, stated in his word, that if someone repents and turns to him with all their heart, their mind, and soul, and take hold of his promises, his covenants, and everything he has for us, by faith, he will not change for you. He will allow them to come in. That's why there was proselytes and converts back in the day. So let's further go into Zephaniah chapter 2. And we're going to read about some of these unrepentant sinners' punishment. And of course you can read more about their punishment in the other books as well. Especially in Obadiah. For Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Let's go down to 18. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revilings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Therefore, as I live, saith the Most High Yahuah, the Elohim of Yasharal, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits and a perpetual desolation. He's going to destroy Moab and Ammon for their unrepented ways, their sinful ways. This is the destruction of the unrepentant. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and we will go over there and spoil them. And the remnant of my people shall possess them, and then we will possess them. And yes, they will be our servants and handmaids. But they going into straight captivity and servitude, and they're going to have the curses upon them, because they were unrepentant. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of Yahuah of hosts. The Most High will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all their deities of the earth, and men shall worship him, everyone from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. So there are Gentile heathens that's still going to be on the outside of our lands, the unrepentant. And the Most High is going to make them worship him. But they still going to have the curses and slavery. They go on in slavery, brothers and sisters. They're not going to have it easy. You Ethiopians also, you shall be slain by my sword. He's going to take care of them for their unrepentantness. And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria. There go the Assyrians. And will make Nineveh a desolation and dry like a wilderness. Most High is pouring out his wrath. He's going to destroy all the nations and take their crowns. And there's going to be a remnant left over after all the destruction of these different nations outside of our land, Zion. So let's go over to Isaiah 63. And we're going to read about a little bit more here. Isaiah 63 and 1. Who is that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? So, why is their garment red? It's because all the people they done killed. Remember how Mashiach's garment is going to be drenched in blood. His garment is going to be found to be red in his apparel for all the killing he's going to do to all the nations, us right along with him. But here's the question to Edom. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? His garment is drenched in blood. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I would tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. There we have it. Just as they stained all their raiment with the blood of his people, not only his people, but many nations around the world. The Most High said his son is going to be stained in blood and soaked. Or am I adding that? And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garment, and I will stain all my raiment. So he's saying all of his clothing will be stained with blood. Zion, for the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So, brothers and sisters, there's going to be a great destruction come upon all the unrepentant sinners. Now, there are certain nations the Most High completely said he was going to totally wipe them out, totally, completely destroy them. They will not enter into his rest, period, in the kingdom to come. I'm talking about when the Most High makes a complete end of all things. In that kingdom, you will not see no Philistines. He's promised to totally wipe them out. You will not see no Edomites at that time. He has promised to totally wipe them out. And no Canaanites. He's going to totally wipe out all the Canaanites. These are the main three that I found that the Most High has spoken it by his word, that they will not enter into his rest, into his land forever. And that's why he didn't want us having children with them. They'll be totally eradicated. Now, he did make provisions if we did have a child with our brother Esau, that in the third generation, then that child can enter into the congregation, but only in the third generation. And that's only if, let's say Esau got with a Hebrew and they had a child. That child would not enter into the congregation. And that child got with another Hebrew and had a child. Their next child will not enter into the congregation. But the third child that individual and another Hebrew have, that third child would be full Hebrew by then, because you would have purged out Edom's lineage. So the Most High knows what he's doing. We just got to find it. It's in the script. It's written there. And he, as you can see, if we have a child with an Egyptian, that's straight Hebrew. Okay? Just as Joseph married that Hamite woman, and his two children were counted for tribes. They was instantly accepted as children of Yahuah. But any Canaanite children, wouldn't go down like that. Not, no. So y'all gotta get a even more healthy understanding when dealing with other nations and marrying them. Of course, the Most High wants to keep us Judah, or keep us Simeon, or keep us, but he makes provisions if we did fall in love with another one from another nation and marry them. There is provisions for that, but there are ones he told us flat out not to marry, period, because their seeds are spoiled. And even Moab, I forgot about Moab. He said with Moab, even to the 10th generation, they will not enter into the congregation. So you have any children with Moab, that children is gone. You can forget it. So we got to get a full, healthy understanding of who the Most High specifically told us not to marry into. And I'm not saying going out there and go crazy. No, find you a Hebrew. That's our first mission. Y'all know what I'm saying? But matter of fact, there is many Shemites who married Javan, some of the Javanites. But don't look too deep into that, okay? Because I'm just saying, look into who you can marry and who you can't, but focus on Zion, remain in Zion, so that no heathen from outside of our land could come in and take our land, or no other one from another tribe could come into Judah's territory and take over a portion of that land. So the Most High made provisions for all of that. He thought this well out before us. But anyway, back to this video. Let's go to Isaiah 56. Okay, I read Isaiah 56 already, 1 through 8 in another video, past video. Go check out the 2 videos before this one if you haven't. And let's go to here to Isaiah 49 and 5. And we're going to take a look at some more evidence. And now, saith the Most High, that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yahuah, and my Elohim shall be my strength. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Yasharal. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles. There it is again. That thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. We are his salvation. We are to bring salvation to the repentant sinners of the Gentiles and of our people. Brothers and sisters. Thus saith Yahuah, the Redeemer of Yasharal and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of Yahuah that is faithful, and the Holy One of Yasharal, and he shall choose thee. That's right, he's choosing us in holiness and righteousness. And y'all got to get prepared for this kingdom. Thus saith the Most High, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in the day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages, that thou mayest say to the prisoners, go forth, to them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastors shall be in all high places. Zion. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north, and from the west, and these from the land of Sinai. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for Yahuah hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. Now let's drop down to 17. Thy children shall make haste, thy destroyers, and they that made thee waste shall go forth of thee. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and come to thee. As I live, saith Yahuah, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. Now you understand what I'm talking about? That repentant Gentile that's going to bind themselves to us, and they're going to be as a bride to us. The Most High is causing this to happen. They're going to serve us in holiness and righteousness. But of course, you're going to have the ones on the outside of the land going through it. You know what I'm saying? But in our land, it's a different story. Zion. Let's drop down to 22. Thus saith the Most High Yahuah, Behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am Yahuah, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. Let's do 25. Well, let's just go ahead and read 24. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? But thus saith Yahuah, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children, and I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood, as with sweet wine, and all flesh shall know that I, Yahuah, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Yaakov. So, the unrepentant sinner is going to get it, brothers and sisters. And the repentant Gentile, who by faith obeyed the Most High, is coming in underneath another capacity. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus 45, and that's in the Apocrypha. Let me get that. And we're going to read this here, portion of this, where the Most High is showing that how he chose Israel to be his people, and how he chose Moses to be a glorious saint unto the people, and he decked them out with all this. I mean, he really decked them out. Greater than a king would be decked out with all these fine linen and clothing and gold and jewelry. There were precious stones all over him. Decked them out, Zion. And right here we read, before him there was none such, neither did ever any stranger put them on, but only his children, and his children's children perpetually. So the Most High has never dealt so with any other nation, to bring the service of his word to the world. He's only dealt with us. And he even chose Aaron and decked him out, and chose the Levites to bring his priesthood. Brothers and sisters, he gave unto him his commandments and authority in the statutes of judgments, that he should teach Jacob the testimonies, and inform Israel in his laws. Strangers conspired together against him, and maligned him in the wilderness, even the men that were of Dathan's and Abiron's side, and the congregation of Korah, with fury and wrath. So the Most High is calling some of his own people strangers, right? Dathan and Korah and Abiron's. So in the proper context, we could see that the Most High is talking about some of his own people. But remember, we had some of them with us in the wilderness, some of the mixed multitude that came out with us, and they bared witness to all of this. They was there, and they were meant to come and serve us, Zion. And the Most High told us to treat them like one that's born in the land, like a brother. And there's so many people that don't understand this different type of Gentile that came in with us by faith and was granted grace and mercy by the Most High, but they still had a position and a place to serve the Most High in the capacity the Most High said serve us. That's the Most High's doing. We have to trust in the Most High and get an understanding from him on these different types of Gentiles. So the Most High brought them out with us, and they bear witness to everything. The Red Sea, they went through the waters with us. They wandered in the wilderness. They ate of the manna with us. They ate of the, what was that bird? Oh man, can't believe I forgot that. What's the name of that bird that we ate? The Most High brought to us. Anyway, y'all know the bird. He'll come to me later. But they were right there with us, going through the wilderness. They bear witness to going to the mountain, taking part of the blood covenant. And they bear witness to the Most High making the covenant with our seed. They were there. They took place. They were a part of it because they were our possession, Zion. They were our inheritance. They were with us. They were part of us. And they took part in all the covenant, the blood sprinkling. They heard the Most High's voice as well, stood afar off and said, Moses, you do that. You go before the Most High, at least the Most High kill us. They were all a part of that, Zion. The Most High didn't drove them out and kill them, put them in chains, put them under. He wouldn't be the Most High, would he, if he did such a thing? But there are ones that will go into heavy servitude and slavery and have the curses upon them, and that's the other unrepentant Gentiles, not the one that's coming in the land with us. You got to look back and go read the story of how Moses came out with that great multitude, and stop putting these things together and go back and read this about Abraham too, how he treated the people that walked through his gates, how he treated his servant as though he was a son. And even that servant was thinking he was going to get all the inheritance, because Abraham didn't have no offspring until Ishmael came. Then Ishmael thought the same thing, even though he got something, but he didn't get what Isaac got. And his servant was treated well. Go read about it. If you can't get the understanding of faithful, good, and faithful servant Abraham, and then go look at the story with Moses and the Gentiles that came out with us, and put that together, by now, this channel ain't for you. This channel not for you, because I'm here for the few Hebrews that will hear thus saith all of the Most High, not just bits and pieces of what I want to teach, but all of the Most High, because I don't understand it all, brothers and sisters. I only got bits and pieces myself, but what I do have, I share. And I'm here for those few Hebrews that's going to make it, and those few grafted in Gentiles that's going to make it by faith. That's who I'm here. That's what my channel is about, brothers and sisters. If this is not a channel for you, then you have to go find your channel. Go find the people that you need to be with, because all through the book I can read the mercy and grace of the Most High upon his people and those who want to take hold of his covenant. I can read it. Oh, I can go on and on with some more scriptures, and I got more. I wasn't going to Exodus, but I'm gonna jump over to Ecclesiastes 17. There was more I wanted to read here, but I'm just going to cut that short because this video long already. Go to 17. I don't think I'm going to even get in the third Gentile. I might have to make a fourth video for that one. For in the division This is Ecclesiastes 17:17. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Yahuah is the Most High's portion. And let me get the precept to back this one up. He has a different, he set other spirits over the other nations to rule over them. But our ruler is the Most High. And so everyone that joined to us, their ruler is the Most High's. Let's go get the precept to that. Okay, here's the precept. We're in Book of Jubilees, chapter 15, start with verse 29. For the commandment is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Yahuah. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the Most High did not cause to approach him. He has not dealt so with any other nation. And he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them. He knows them. But he chose Yahuah to be his people, and he sanctified it. And he gathered it from amongst all the children of men. There's the separation. Special people above all people on the face of the earth. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. All are the Most High's. And over all have he placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. But over Yahuah, separation again, he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. And he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve us, Zion, and bless us, Zion, and that they may be his, that we may be his, and the Most High may be ours, Zion, from henceforth forever. And here you have that precept to that, Zion, to what the Most High was saying here in Ecclesiastes. He set a ruler over every people, but Yahuah is the Most High's portion. And so the other nations have drunk of other wines, and they worship other idols and other deities. And the same is true with the European nations. They have their deity called God that they worship, and JC that they worship. These are two separate deities. The Most High said in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 64, part of one of the curses, that we would serve their deities in their land, in their lands, brothers and sisters. And that's exactly what we have done. But we need to tear ourselves away from their deities and recognize that this God and JC is not the same as our mighty Yahuah and Yahushua. It's different. They may use our book and change the name and put different names in there, but it's not the same. The same with Ishmael's religion. They may use our book, but their prophet is Muhammad and their deity is Allah. It's not the same deity that we worship, Zion. It's not. Because right here the Most High said he is our ruler alone, and he placed other spirits in authority to lead them astray from him, because he knew them. Where does it say that at? And he chose them not because they are the children. Oh, right here. Because he knew them. He knew them. That's why he chose us, because he knew us, Zion. Now, other nations, other people out of these other nations want to join themselves to the Most High, his covenant and his promises. They will join themselves to the house of Yahuah. Why do you think the city of the Most High has 12 gates, and that everyone has to walk through the gates of Yahuah into the city of the Most High? Because he has blessed us and honored us and sanctified us this way for being his glory on the earth. And we are a light to the rest of the nations to come into this house to take part of what was given to us. But they have to do it that way. Hamashiach has come back to save the house of Yahuah. And he has. And with through him other nations has been saved, because he saved us. For we are the salvation of the world, Zion. And we will come back to the holiness and righteousness that we were to be. So yes, brothers and sisters, I'm going to have to end up making part 4. And so we can go over the third Gentile, which is the one that will come into the kingdom with us and have their new bodies when the Most High make everything renewed, restored everything. And when Hamashiach return, there's going to be that grafted in Gentile that died in the faith that's going to get their new body. And yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do a part 4 on that. I'm probably just going to do another video about that later on in the future. But a lot of you understand what I'm talking about, that there are 3 different types of Gentiles in these last days. There's the unrepentant sinner, then there's the repentant sinners. And of that repentant sinner, you have the one that's going to grab a hold of a skirt of a Jew and come into our land in the flesh. Then you're going to have the one that's going to get their new bodies when either they die in faith, or if they too get caught up in the air and changed. And I'm not saying that they were the one of the 144,000 that's of the Hebrews of the 12 tribes, but they are of the great multitude that was standing underneath the altar in Revelations chapter 7 and 9. And I'm going to get that video together, and because I forgot about including it, I would have to just wing this one, and I don't want to just wing it and just go hustling about finding scriptures, even though I could, but it would take me a long time to do it. But so I'm going to take my time and make this other video about the third Gentile. But I'm going to come out with the 3 different type of Hebrews in these last days videos next. So that's going to be my next series that I'm going to focus on, even though I may upload something else in between. But that's going to be my main focus in getting these 3 different type of end time Hebrews identified, to help you understand that we just cannot be united with everyone, Zion. Even within our walls, even within the house of Yahshua, we got enemies. We got people that's just not going to follow the Most High. They may follow halfway, but they're not going to follow him all the way. They may follow him 75% of the way, but they're not going to follow him all the way. There's stuff that they're going to completely refuse. But then you're going to have the ones that's going to follow him about 75%, and they're not going to understand the rest. But the Most High is going to cover that misunderstanding, or if they're in error somewhere and they're repenting of it, whatever it is, even if they don't know, if they're saying some type of general repentance prayer, Most High know that they're in ignorance here, he's going to fill us in when the Messiah returns. So you got these different type of Hebrews out here and different type of Gentiles. We must identify them to cut out confusion and deception amongst our ranks. And with that, brothers and sisters, I'm going to say shalom, and that ends this series of the 2 different type of Gentiles. But there's actually the third that get caught up and get their new bodies when they die. So keep that in mind, and in the future I'll work on that video. Shalom.